Hey guys, it's Brian and welcome back to Arrowhead Garage and another Firebird Friday video. And today we're getting work on bodywork on the 67 Firebird. It's been holding off now for almost 4 years, 5-3. See, we bought it and got it in 2020, September 2020. It's not, we're going on 4 years. So 3.5 years ago, we brought this home. There's a link somewhere if you've not been following these videos. But today we're going to take a look at a fender. The front driver's fender has a little bitty dent, and we still can't talk about it because that statute of limitations has not expired yet. But one day you'll know. So with that, let's go look at that front fender. Let's see how bad it is and what we're going to do to take care of that dent. Let's go. All right, guys. So here's our dent, and as you can kind of see, it's yeah, there's a spot there. It's definitely pushed in. We got some surface rust, but it's like that right there, I think, as well. So I think what we're going to do is see if we can't get the fender off and hammer out with a rubber mallet on that back end. I've been talking to Louie over at First Generation Garage and John over at Vinyl Village Garage, and that's what they're saying to do. So we're going to take this fender off, and we're going to get to hammering out that dent. All right, so in order to get this fender off, there are 2 bolts here. Those are our Phillips heads. They hold on this panel here. There's 2 bolts here, which I'm missing one at the moment. That will be taken off. There's one here that holds on the side bracing. Then the hinge, there's 2 on the hinge, so we'll have to take that off. And then there's one back here. Of course, down the bottom here, which you can't see kind of by the dent, there's a couple of these same bolts, these 1/2-inch bolts. And of course, there's one up there by the door, and there's 2 underneath there. So I'm just going to get to pulling all these out and see how we can do this. And yes, I know I probably should be taking the hood off, but we're just gonna see about doing a little bit of support here. All right, one fender off. All right, so we have our fender up here. Here's our little dent. This should not be that hard to correct. Flip it over and let's see how we did. I just had to watch this back in slow motion. Yeah, look at that dent. It's coming right out. I need another beer. All right, so just that little rubber mallet, it obviously brought that dent out. So, but we have that paint chipping, and of course we'll have to buff all this out or sand all this down. So why don't we just sand this part here down, take it down to bare metal, and let's see how far we can get on this. Okay, got me a sander, got me a 80 grit disc here. Let's just see how this all lines up. Pretty good. So we're good done. too much, so we'll speed this up. I know sanding is not something that we love to watch. It is time consuming, but this little palm sander I had for when I do some woodworking around the house, I thought would get the job done on this fender. But as you can see, this little 5-inch sander just wasn't cutting it. It took probably 40 some minutes just to get this little spot right here done. And I fought it and fought it, even changed to 60 grit. And even 60 grit didn't seem to do much. It did, get me to see the different layers of paint that are there. So it looks like it's been 2 paints on it, original plus 1 more. Did find a little bit of rust right here. Again, trying to use my palm sander to get at it, and I'm done. I'm done. So, try using that sander I had, and as you can see, it was not cutting the mustard. So I got a hold of Louie and John again, and they're like, dude, go get the Bauer from Harbor Freight, the long throw or the short throw DA polisher. Like, I don't need a polisher, it's a sander. They're like, stop, go get the polisher, put your hook and loop 6-inch pads on those, and then try it out. So what I do, went and got it. So now let's see how this works on the fender and see if we can cut our time down, because at the rate that other sander was going, I'd be here till Christmas again. Christmas 24. I don't got no time for that. Let's go do this. Oh yeah, this is what I'm talking about. This new TA, it's a long throw, and they had a short throw, so I picked up the long throw. Everything I read, it's going to be better for when I go to polish other things, and I don't know how many more cars I'll be sanding in my lifetime. But this thing just started with the 60 and 80 grit. I kind of jumped between the 2 grits. It got the job done. I was freaking impressed for 75 bucks. Now, this is the only part here that I couldn't obviously use the sander, so I just rolled up one of those 60 grit papers and just went to town to get in there. Now, still got more to do, but it's a start, and it's going to be several more beers before this fender's completely done. But man, I was just impressed on how well this thing was stripping off that paint that my brother put down, the primer, and even some of the Bondos you can see right here. I was like, whoa, I'm touching Bondo. First time I've seen Bondo on this car in the last 3.5 years of going over things. So pretty impressed, and if this is the original fender, which I think it is, then I'll call that a win as far as having to do body work for this thing. So yeah, definitely, guys, grab yourself one of these sanders if you're going to be doing any kind of sanding. Give it a big thumbs up. Plus, you can use it to polish the car when you're done painting her. Then this here on the very top of the fender here is the other place I saw some pitting and some rust. It doesn't seem that bad, and I think we can deal with that pretty simple without having to weld anything up. All right, guys, so obviously switching up to that DA Bauer polisher did an amazing job. I used 60 grit and 80 grit paper on it. We got everything done on this part. It's cleaned off. I still have a little bit more around this trim, and let me bring you in closer and we can kind of take a look at a few things and see what our next issue is going to be on getting this fender repaired and prepared for paint. Okay, so first things first, let's look at this here. This here got done really well. It's going to need just a slight little bit of filler to kind of make it all happen. Then right in here, and I just need to sand this all out, but right there you can kind of see it's pushed in, so I'm going to have to get underneath there with a dolly and a hammer and kind of pop that out. Then our other issue was right over here in this corner, and there's some rust, so we'll have to get in here and we'll just cut that out, put in a new piece right there. The other spot we noticed was back up over here, and that spot here was on this edge here, and maybe kind of come around here in the light better. But so a little bit of pitting right in here, you can kind of see, and a little bit of pitting on there. I think we can kind of grind that out a little bit and put a little bit of fill there just to kind of make that work. And then we did find some Bondo on this bad girl. So right here, and this is best of my knowledge an original fender. So right in here, boom, there's a dent there. There's one right there, but there was just here. And I didn't take this out. Normally, I would pull all this Bondo out and just redo it. But because it's my brother and I'm pretty sure that's his handiwork there, I'm going to leave that and just kind of come in on top of that, get that little dent there. Maybe I can get and dolly that out, but if not, we will go ahead and do what we have to do. Now again, we still got to do the inside edge all the way along here, but I think for the most part, this is one sharp looking fender. And I can't wait to kind of put it back on the car when it's in this bare metal look. Be kind of cool to watch this whole car become bare metal and then back to red again. Kind of liking that, digging that stuff. All right, guys, we got the fender off the Firebird. We got it sanded down. We now know there's the rust on that lower part. We have a little bit of Bondo and a dent up on the top part. And of course, we got to fix that dent there in the front part. All stuff we can do, and we're going to take care of that probably next week or this weekend. So if you like the video, please give me a thumbs up. If you're enjoying the content, if you're into first generation F-bodies or Firebirds or Camaros, hit that subscribe button so you can follow along in this build on this car. We're getting down to that nitty gritty and having a lot of fun doing it. Thank you guys so much. Have a good weekend. Be safe this weekend, and I'll see you next Friday for another Firebird Friday video.